Hi, Tushar. Thank you. Thanks for connecting with Pagal Guy and agreeing to do this interview with us. We look forward to understanding your journey with SP Jain and how you have been able to navigate the entire corporate world post the degree.
All right. Thank you so much, Jalda, for your question. And yes, it's nice to be here. With regards to SP Jain, like I graduated this May 2024, May 2023. So my entire experience with SP Jain has been really well organized, I would say, because the program, as you know, it's a very global program where you do the first year in Singapore, second year in Dubai, and the third and fourth year in Sydney. Yes, there were a little bit of hiccups because of the COVID, but the reason I say it to be very well organized is because the experience and the exposure that you are provided every single year is very well controlled. For example, it's very much controlled when you are in Singapore because that's your very first year. So, like we as very fresh students, we are just trying to understand the environment, how the corporate world works, and everything. So it's a little bit more of a theory and a little bit of exposure to the corporate world. But with projects like the regional immersion projects, the different kind of regionally immersive projects that they have, they throw you completely into that world where you are allowed to navigate uh, through the world by yourself. And there is a big project like that every single year, right? And then the global learning experiences, I think if I look at the stage of my life right now, where I am right now, the global learning experiences have helped me more than anything else. My networks from Singapore, my networks from Dubai, which I made and during the global learning activities, are people who are still connected with me today and who have been helping me expand my own business. So I'm currently a young entrepreneur, as you can say, and I'm currently managing three businesses of my own. And I believe the education that I've already received through my course has already helped me quite a lot. And my mentors that I have connected with at that point of life are still available for me to help me navigate the way further.
Perfect. So, Tushar, understanding that the kind of program that you chose with SPGN was a Tri-City model program, which is something that's very rare currently in India. What was the selection process like, and if you could remember, was there any experience that you found was very unique to SPGN?
Like, how was the process with regards to my selection of the university?
Yes.
Okay.
When you went for the selection process, was there a
Okay.
personal interview? What kind of a selection process did you go through?
All right, all right, of course. So yes, they do have their own entrance test called the SP Jet. So like I had to clear the SP Jet, you get the results, and of course I think they label it through multiple criterias, and then there's a personal interview as well. And apart from that, they also check a lot of your like past background or what you have done before, like the leadership positions that you have held before getting into SPJ and your academic performances, your sports performances, and all of those things. And like based on that, you are also offered a certain kind of scholarship.
Got it. Were
Yeah.
there any other colleges that you were considering, understanding the unique opportunity that SPGN was offering? And if so, which were the colleges and why did you choose to go with SPGN?
Okay, so in India, I was preferring either NMIMS or Bennett University. NMIMS in Pune, Bennett University in Noida, and internationally, I was looking at HERT. So, however, HERT was way beyond my budget, I would say. And this one, the NMIMS and Bennett were anyway my lower priorities because I wanted to take an international exposure.
Got it.
And what drew me into SPGN after that was a lot of referrals. Like most of the referrals had a very good sense of like they strongly recommended SPGN. They strongly recommended SPGN, and the recruitment person who was there at that point, Ronita ma'am, she was very helpful throughout the process.
Got it. For somebody who has gone through this process and are currently very successfully holding three different companies, so somebody who's also immersed himself into the entrepreneurial spirit of the country currently, how do you think SPGen, your time at SPGen, help you nurture the leadership skills that you require today in order to go about with your business activities?
So I think SP Jain has a very, very big role to play in. One thing to clarify is I was an entrepreneur. I did start my startup before entering SP Jain. But the
Okay.
difference that has come up post SP Jain is the very mindset that I have, the very way I have started looking at business. For example, the very same business which I was running, my mentality before going to SP Jain and after going to SP Jain has been tremendously, like, has been radically very different. I think one major role that SPSN has played there is the very way they look at us. When I say the way they look at us, I mean, uh, number one, they always treat us like global citizens, that we are already global citizens, even from our very first year. Number two, they treat adults the way adults should be treated. They don't impose on you unnecessary restrictions which an adult should not have, and they do not they do not treat you like kids. They do not spoon feed you during exams. They do not spoon feed you anything academically. So it's a very open world experience that they give. They put everything for you there, but they expect you to go and grab it, and that's exactly what you have to do in business as well. There are multiple events where you are supposed to do your own networking. They put you into places where there will be big people, there will be people who can do wonders in your life, and they will give you guidance before going to the event, but you are the ones who have to go and walk and do the rest for your own life. And most of the marks in SPGen are not from exams, it's from the group assignments. And the group assignments were sometimes like a real world business in itself. Like, we get 6 months. In 6 months you have to start kind of your own business, you have to pitch it to investors, you have to get funding, you have to get revenue. So it's pretty much like a own business that you have to do as a group assignment. So like, that's a very, very real world experience that the university has provided. Um, and at that point of time you don't have an option. In business you can get lazy sometimes, but in academics you cannot, because you know that you can lose scholarship, you do not want to be in the lower levels of your university, definitely. So those are the moments that have pushed us through.
Got it. You mentioned that you were an entrepreneur even before you considered going for SPGen. If one had to ask you, what are the three takeaways that you had, that you know that you can pinpoint and say these were the three aspects that I took out from my degree and my time at SPGen, which has really helped me structure my business in the right direction. What will those three things be?
All right, give me 2 minutes to think on the very exactly three words. Number one will definitely be personal guidance and mentorship. In none of the universities I have seen the level of personal involvement, professors, dean, or the president, chairperson of the university getting involved at a student level. So definitely that's one thing. The global learning and the out of classroom activities, as I've already mentioned. Um, and number three, it's a bit of a conflict between two or three things, but I still say the group assignments.
Got it. So,
Yeah,
the kind of course that you enrolled was the Tri-City model, where you had to go through from one city to another city, and not just in the same country, but in different countries
correct.
across the globe. Uh, I understand that this shift comes with a cultural shock. The Was there any form of consistency in terms of the delivery of the course? And also, how did you deal with the cultural shock or the cultural changes that came about with the shift?
Cultural shocks were definitely big cultural shocks, because even if you see the kind of cities that were involved, like, those cities do not match with each other at any level. Singapore is a completely stringent Asian cultural city. Dubai is again a very Middle Eastern culture, it's very different. And Sydney, the very, very Western culture again. So with regards to academic delivery also, like, some differences were seen. uh, Quality consistency wise, I would say equal, but the very mindset of the faculty, the very way professors come to your class, it becomes slightly different with regards to different cultures. For example, like, even in India, like, professors and teachers are involved on an emotional level, right? So that is something that is relatively, it is existent in SPJ in all three cities, but the level is different in all. For example, in Singapore and Dubai, that level is much higher. In Sydney, that reduces a little bit. Also, because I feel that in Sydney, most of the students also start working, so that level of engagement reduces a little bit. With regards to my own cultural adaptation, I won't say it was easy. It wasn't easy at all. No, because like you get to settle in a city and they move you. So by the time I settled in Singapore, I was already moved to Dubai. By the time I settled in Dubai, I was already moved to Sydney. So Sydney was the only place where I felt a little bit settled for that matter. But that was really good because that has taught me adaptation. I can confidently say now that you can put me in any city and I'll be good to be there in 2 months. Like people need 2 years, 3 years of time to settle in a city. I can settle anywhere in this world. You put me in Antarctica and I'll be fine in 2 months. That's the confidence that I have.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
good suggestion, SP Jain. But I don't think SP Jain is considering Antarctica
No,
yet.
of course not.
The London campus is already set up, so
Oh,
that
it's
is some.
beautiful. It's beautiful. I did go to the London campus post my studies. But like of course one of my professors were there. She was very welcoming. Prof. Sadia, she showed me around the entire campus. Apparently it was a very beautiful corporate space before, and it has now been acquired by SP Jain. So it's a very, very fancy, beautiful office.
Oh yeah, the
Not an
strategic
office,
location
university.
of it. Yes, the sheer
Yeah,
location of it is the point of real appreciation because it's really
right,
connected well in terms of the corporates that SP Jain
correct.
kind of wants the students to get exposed to.
Right, right.
Yeah, so somebody who's gone through the process now you're already into the business world and you are somebody who's handling three different businesses as well. If you had to give an advice to your young self who was at that point of time considering which course to go about, what would that one advice be? Now that you are gone through with the process.
Just believe in yourself. What you are going to do is the right one.
Perfect. My last question to you before we end this interview is if you had to describe your journey with SP Jain in less than 10 words, what would it be?
A journey filled with fun, growth, constant adaptation, and meeting wonderful mentors.
Perfect. Thanks, Tushar. Thank you for joining with Pagal Guy. It was really, really quite interesting having this conversation with you. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.